Hey guys, welcome back to 5nothing100nothing.com. I am Fugget, and that is the fittest underdog guru using intelligent tactics. Now today, guys, I'm going to go on a fucking rant. I'm very passionate about this next subject, and I'm just going to speak from the heart. And I don't know what's coming out. I have no notes. I'm just going to shoot from the hip, as we say. And it's about manipulation. And, a lot of times, there's so many times I hear this story, you guys, from viewers and personal stories, friends, etc., about being taken advantage of by somebody that could be a love interest, could be a friend, could be a family member, that try to get you to do what they want, and that somehow either you're not enough, or if you're not bailing them out of their problem, that somehow it's your fault. And especially if you're intimidated, you're not sure of yourself, you're not on your purpose, you're not doing the things you need to do to take care of you so that you can freely give to others. And that's the thing, is that when you're in a good position in your life, when you've got your money right, when you're emotionally healthy, when the things in your life that should be taken care of are taken care of, as we like to say, and just shorten it up, you're getting your shit together. You've got to take care of you. And it comes off sometimes as a selfish pursuit, and it's really not. If you're not in a good place and you're going to put yourself out there and it's going to send you into turmoil, then there's no way for you to be able to truly help somebody else. So, you can't give out of your lack, of your time, of your energy, of your love, of your resources, because you're just going to screw yourself in the end. And what's going to happen is, if something happens and that person either reneges on their ability or their want to be with you or to have you in their life, you can't make somebody stay in your life if they don't want to be in your life, if they change their mind. We all grow. We all have free will, you guys. You can't manipulate somebody into staying with you. You can't make them want to be with you. You can't make them be loyal to you. You can't make them be whatever it is in your head that you've determined they are, how they fit into your world. That's why if you see somebody in your life that takes a promotion and is going to move out of state, people get upset about it. Sometimes it's out of envy, sometimes it's for different reasons, but a lot of times it's that you fit into their world in some way, and they like the world the way it is. A lot of times people don't like change because it upsets their little microcosm of what the world should be, because that's just how you fit in it. They see you a certain way, and you serve them in some way, or you fit into their world where they have everything the way they want it. Just like I always tell people that, when in your ideal world in your head, I don't know if you guys have ever thought about this, but in your ideal mindset of memories or whatnot, it's like you're the kid, your parents are middle-aged, your grandparents are old, and it will never change. But Circle of Life doesn't work that way. Eventually you're going to be going from the kid to the middle age and have a lot of responsibilities. Sure, you have more freedoms, you have more things you can do, but then at some point, Circle of Life continues. Your ass is going to get old and wrinkly and ugly, and it's just the way it is. It doesn't define you if you don't let it define you, but that's what happens. So getting back to it, you guys, everybody has a story about somebody in their life that is like a leech, that uncle who always is bumming money, or somebody, maybe it's a sibling that is manipulates your parents and just drains them dry, and it always has a sob story or something. And you look at it, if you're in a good place and you're like, why can't they see this? And sometimes they're not really helping, or you're not really helping, the person that is always looking for help or for, an escape from their problem or out of a bind that they got themselves into. I mean, there's a time that you do help. And then there's a lot of times that if you see a pattern repeated, you've just got to look at it and say, you know what? There's nothing I'm going to be able to do to help you. It's like if you see somebody with like really poor spending habits, or they just, they can't pay their bills, but they have cable in every channel. They have, a new car. They have the latest, greatest iPhone or, computer, whatever. They wear the best clothes. They always want the best. They always want to dine the best. But yet they can't pay their damn phone bill. They can't, take care of the necessities. And meanwhile, maybe you've busted your ass and you're sacrificing trying to work towards your purpose and for financial freedom. And all of a sudden, you're asked to bail them out. They're asking you, well, you have the resources, you can do this, you can do that. Meanwhile, you're busting your ass 40, 50, 80 hours a week, whatever it is, the situation you're in. And they're manipulators because they know how to push the buttons to get an emotional response or to appeal to your guilt and make you feel like, somehow you don't love them, somehow you don't care enough because you're not willing to help them. And what I mean by that, to put it all in context, you guys, so that you don't get it out of context or send me hate mail or think that I'm just bitter or whatever, is, I'm talking about people that show a pattern of doing this. They got a long trail of tears. There's like a long line of dominoes of people that, they've basically, in a sense, rolled to get whatever they need. And, it can be a hard thing to do to like cut them off or to just say no, but it's like, think about it like this, okay? You got a guy who's in a rowboat and he's sitting there and he's got like a sledgehammer or something, or an ice pick or something. And he's just poking holes, boom, boom, in that boat. And you're sitting there going, you know what? All you're going to do is sink that boat if you keep going. But they're not hearing it. It's my boat. It's my life. I can do whatever I want, And so that can be a representation of, spending more, beyond their means and putting things on credit, or, just making poor decisions and, doing things that are going to hurt them long term, but they're not long term thinking. They're not willing to sacrifice short term or to do without or to be without in order to have immediate gratification. And, we've all done it. I work with clients every day that come in, and it's like 2 weeks before spring break, or not 2 weeks before spring, 2 weeks before summer. And, they spent the winter just eating what they wanted, partying, drinking, whatever. And they're 25 pounds overweight, and they're going to go on a vacation in 2 weeks, or, pool season's coming. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, I got to get in shape. I got to do this. I'm going to go on this radical diet. I'm going to work out 5-6 hours a day and all this bullshit. And I look at that and I'm like, if you had just 3-4 months ago cut your calories down, 500 a day, say they're overeating, that's the problem. And, cut out the sugar, cut out the booze, reduce your carbohydrates a little bit, eat more whole food, etc., and trained, 3 hours a week total with cardio and strength total. Come spring, summer, whatever, they would have lost that weight and they would have looked fine, and it would have been a subtle behavioral change that would have led to the result they wanted. And the same thing is with your financial stuff, you guys. I mean, if you just save a little, it's amazing what you can accumulate over time, save for something, you don't need like the latest, greatest TV if you're putting it on credit and it's like, oh, there's no, no finance charge, or there's no this or that for 18 months or whatever it is. And you're like, this sounds great. Well, if you got a lot of income coming in, sure, then you can throw money at that and pay it off in 18 months before, that starts to accumulate. But that's not what we do, You almost like turn off your brain a little bit. And they know human nature because they're going to make money once it starts collecting interest. And that's, that's where they make their money. They're not just giving you money because they got so much and it's burning a hole in their pocket. They're doing it because they know human nature. And most people that are going to borrow are going to do so and not think about the payment for a while. And then eventually it's going to accumulate interest and boom, that's where they're making their money. So, it's human nature sometimes, especially if you haven't really thought about it and you're not aware of your decisions and the impact it has long term, and you're just short term thinking, or maybe it's something that you've always seen in your family and nobody taught you better, or you're just not thinking about it tomorrow. Now, some people are wired to just be long term thinking, short term, denial, and can live below their means, and because they know that a better tomorrow is coming and they're planning for it. Or, I remember when I would be in the gym 14 hours a day and it'd be killing me, but I just had a mindset of, you know what, I want to be able to slow down in a few years, watch my kids grow up, be able to go to their games and not have to worry about slaving like this. And it was a sacrifice, And I believe that there's a better tomorrow, and it was going to allow me to have some financial freedom and have a better life later, to sacrifice. Generations have gone by where, you hear about immigrants that come into the country and, they didn't have two nickels to rub together, and they busted their ass so that their kids could have a better tomorrow. And the next generation, they were very forward thinking like that. And I think a lot of times maybe we've lost our way with that. And, with like the bailouts and all this other shit, it's like, we're just looking for someone to rescue us out of our hole. But it's really hard to do. But unless you see changes in character, unless you see commitment to change and a mindset change in a person that's willing to do the work themselves or some of the work themselves, it's pointless for you to just throw your money, down a well. So getting back to the analogy of the boat and the holes, all of a sudden that person starts to see that boat sink, and suddenly it sobers them up and they realize, oh crap, they go into panic mode. They shouldn't have done those things, and now they're paying for it. So that boat is sinking, and you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, what can I do to help you? And they want a bucket, and the bucket is to scoop the water out. Like, well, the problem is that you have holes in the boat, and you're going to need to plug those holes up. Use some cork, cork that bitch up, and then you won't have to worry about, those holes anymore. And then you can scoop out the water once you've stopped the bleeding, once you've stopped all that water coming in. But a lot of times you're going to hear, no, I don't want the corks. No, they don't want to change the habits. They don't want to do that. They just simply want to, do it their way. They're stubborn. That's one of the problems in the first place, is they're stubborn. They don't listen. They don't want to course correct and change things. So what happens is, you sit there and you're like, okay. And if, you allow yourself to be manipulated, then you're going to feel bad, and you're going to, okay, I'll give you a bucket, or I'll get in there with the bucket for you and do it myself for you. And then you're not scooping fast enough, or you're not doing this, you're not doing that. So in other words, if you're throwing money at this person and they're not changing their habits, then you're just pissing both your money and their money away. And it's BS, You don't have to do that. And it could be anything. It could be from trading. It's not even just money, but it could be your time. It could be, there's people that are just like want to sound off to you, and they're never going to change their actions. And if you try to do that, if you try to tell them, I can only listen so long, are you going to do anything differently to change this? You can't do that, You just got to find ways to remove yourself from that situation so your time isn't wasted, or in other cases, your money's not wasted, or, you don't throw your heart into something or somebody that isn't going to value it, and return and reciprocate the same kind of love and attention you're giving them. And, if you're centered, if you know your value and you're working towards your goals, then you'll never fall into that trap. And if you have fallen into that trap, and I count myself in that company, then it's a learning lesson for you. Stay positive. It's like, okay, you know what? I've learned, and I'm not going to do that again. And I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to continue to grow. I know the signs, and you keep it all in context, and every situation's a little different, you guys. But there's a lot of you, I know, that have been played and, screwed over with good intentions, and or out of fear of rejection by that person, or, something just doesn't feel right, but you go with it, and then you realize in hindsight you got screwed. And it's not good for anybody, guys, especially for you. You've got to take care of number one or you're going to fall in number two, as they say. So, you know what? You're better than that. And if you've made those mistakes, there's redemption. Don't do that shit anymore. Get on your purpose, get on your plan, step it up, know your worth, work hard, take care of yourself, improving every single day, being better. When you're taking care of your business, you're taking care of yourself, you're in the gym, you're working out, you're eating right, you're doing all the right things. It's amazing how your self-worth goes up, and then you no longer allow that stuff to happen. So you just got to keep marching forward, you guys, and, realize when you're really helping a friend in need and when it's just really a pointless action. And it can be hard, but you've got to stick to your guns on it, and in due time, you'll see that it pays off, and you'll be happy. Instead of being an example of what not to do, you'll soon see that it was the right decision, and you can't let that happen. It's not worth it. You're better than that, and you want to be surrounded by people that are going to lift you up, that are going to make you accountable to your decisions to be better, to the disciplines that you want for yourself, and the life you want tomorrow that's going to be better for you. And that's the kind of people and that's the kind of situations you want to surround yourself with. I mean, you can't choose who raised you or what kind of environment you were raised in and, what happens, but you can learn from that. There's many examples of people that over the years, they had the shittiest of conditions you can imagine, and they pulled themselves up from it. And there was something in there. There was an inner compass that told them, hey, go this way. Don't do that. You want something better. Learn from the example of others that have gone before you and don't repeat the mistakes. We see it every generation with musicians. We see it with, comedians and others, like those that come into a lot of fame and they get tempted by the temptations, the drugs, the women or the, whatever, the, overindulgence in things. And, you're human and you got a long life here on earth, hopefully, God willing. And, you've got to be forward thinking and think about tomorrow, because you know what? Everyone that's young thinks they're going to live forever, and then when they get older, they're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe, or they don't care if they're going to die young, and, they're going to smoke, they're going to drink, they're going to do whatever, they're going to live recklessly. And then all of a sudden, because they don't think about being older. Oh, who cares? The old people are disposable, and who cares if I'm not having fun when I'm young? I don't even care if I get old, because how fun can that be? Well, then all of a sudden you're old and you start to go, oh, wait a minute, maybe I should have made some better decisions. And don't compromise your purpose, you guys. If something doesn't feel right, trust your intuition. Trust that inner compass in you. Feed yourself on good things, on things that are going to make a better tomorrow, because it's coming. Now, you can do the work now, and you can have the short-term discipline now for a one hell of a payoff in the future. And that could mean financial freedom. That could mean a healthy body. That could mean a healthy relationship. Don't sell yourself short. Only you can decide what you let in your life, and then you've got to own that shit. And you're no better if you allow that to keep happening over and over and over again. You're the only one who's to blame for your results. If you have a big-ass shit sandwich sitting on your plate, guess what? And that's all you got to eat now? You're going to have to eat that shit sandwich, and you're going to have to like it. Well, you don't have to like it, but you're going to have to eat it, because that's all you got left. Don't set yourself up to eat a shit sandwich. How's that? All right, guys, make sure to like the video, subscribe, send your hate, send your love. I don't care. I'm just speaking the truth, and it is what it is. Just rant, getting it off my chest. Think you guys need that information, and march forward with confidence and with clarity and focus, and don't let anyone throw you off your center. You're better than that. Now start acting like it.